Hey everyone, Cole here from the Adventureists, and today we're talking about why glamping and flushing toilets go together. And no, we're not going to be talking about the mechanisms of each type of sanitary system. We're going to be talking about why we think this is the long-term trend of this industry. If that sounds interesting to you, stick around. So toilets seem to be a big discussion issue when it comes to starting a glamping business or a short-term rental business in especially an off-grid location. Now, you have two major system types. You have a composting toilet or you have a standard flushing toilet that would go to something like a septic system if you're in an off-grid property. Now, for us, we certainly think that the long-term trends of this industry are going towards flushing toilets. It's one of the most requested things if you look at most data, and it's clear that people want to have something that is similar to what they have at home, and that would be a flushing toilet for most people. When we first started researching this project, we did so much research into different system types and the pros and cons of all of them. Now, composting toilets almost certainly have lower first costs, which is why a lot of people like to use them. They can be cheaper to install, especially for smaller projects. If you have one site, two site, three site, it might just be easier to go with something like a composting toilet. If you get to medium and larger size projects, then putting in a full septic system makes sense. Fundamentally, this is a hospitality and customer service industry, so you really need to think what your customers are looking for. A lot of people who are going to be going glamping haven't spent a lot of time in the outdoors. They haven't been in primitive restrooms necessarily, and they're not used to a composting toilet. If this is their first time in the outdoors and having a camping experience, they're going to be experiencing a lot of things for the first time. And something as simple as learning how to use the toilet that you have might just be too much. And that's why I think a lot of people are requesting flushing toilets in this industry. For our project, we decided early on that flushing toilets with a full septic system was the way we wanted to go. Thankfully, our property passed its percolation test, which means that we can go with a conventional septic system, which is lower in first costs. But even before that, we had decided that we wanted to go with flushing toilets from the beginning. Now, every project's unique, and there may be reasons that going with a composting toilet makes sense under certain circumstances. If you're doing an eco retreat, for example, it might make more sense to do that because you can justify that the environmental impact is lower with a composting toilet. For our project, septic systems just have far less maintenance, and that's a huge advantage to us. Combine that with the fact that that's what consumers are asking for and insisting on, and we had a no-brainer that we really wanted to go with a septic system with flushing toilets. And I want to be clear, running an environmentally responsible business is very important to us, but there's a lot of gray area in this discussion. Septic systems do use a lot more water than a composting system, but that water is recycled back to the environment that it came from. And the materials that go into a septic system last longer than that of a composting system. There's just less maintenance involved with it. It's buried in the ground and it stays there for a long time. So it's not necessarily a cut and dry issue. And for us, having flushing toilets with a septic system is an important feature for our project. We've really tried to put a lot of time into thinking about what's going to let us compete not only in 3 years from now, but 30 years from now, and what infrastructure we can put in right now that'll allow us to compete then. Right now, there's just not enough competition in the space to force people to do things like put in flushing toilets, and composting toilets have been fine for a long time. But we strongly think that composting toilets will be the niche in the future and not the normal. And that's what we're trying to plan for with our project. What do you think of this discussion? Would you rather use a composting toilet and be okay with that, or would you prefer to have a flushing toilet? Let me know in the comments below. As usual, if you enjoyed the content, feel free to hit the like button, and if you want to see more of this, subscribe to our channel. See you next time.